I thought we'd look at another classic Russian pistol. This one is the M95 Nagant revolver. M95 denotes that it was made, or started to be made, in 1895. It was used as a standard sidearm through World War I. It was also used extensively during World War II. It is chambered in 7.62 Nagant, that is Nagant revolver, and not the Tokarev, which is a different round, which was the later the T-33. This is a single action or double action revolver. Some of them are made single action only. This is a single and double action. So you can see we can throw down our loading gate here and look through our pistol, make sure everything is clear, and we'll have a little look at the operation of the pistol. Now, as you can see, it's a loading gate, similar to, like I say, the American single action army, and it is intended to be loaded one at a time. So now this particular design, you don't have to pull the hammer back for the cylinder to actually turn. So you would load your rounds in there one by one, throw your loading gate back up again, and you would either fire double action. And these, if you've seen any other videos on these, or if you actually have one, you know that the trigger pull is absolutely horrendously heavy. It is probably about a 24 pound trigger pull, and I'm not going to throw that down there to bang up my firing pin block here. And you can see that would be for a single action. It's very interesting. I think it's just such a cool old design. You can see this huge firing pin here on the end of the hammer. That goes through and does your ignition for your cartridge. Now this particular pistol is a Tula, which is more desirable, well, more desirable to some collectors, and it is a 1930. So this one was made before World War II and served during World War II. Also in this revolver you will see wooden grips. And as I understand it, some of the plastic or phenolic grips that are like a red color are actually a post-war accessory, whereas this here would have been actually World War II. This revolver is in excellent condition. Oh, and let's go back to actually how we would load and fire this thing. So you've loaded all your chambers. So you've got 7 rounds loaded, ready to go. The Nazis are coming after you. You decide to discharge all 7 chambers. Now, after that, what you have to do is a little bit cumbersome. So you have basically an empty revolver with all of the cartridge cases still stuck in. So while you're under fire, make sure you gently throw the loading gate over like this. You take this little rod here at the top, give it a little half turn, and pull it up. Now again, while somebody's shooting at you, you take this thing and turn it to the side like that. And carefully line it up to each one of the holes which you have a spent cartridge case in. And you push down, and no spring in it of course, you've got to pull it back up. You carefully align the next one. You push down, get rid of your case, and back up. You do that a total of 7 times. Once you're done with that, you turn the rod back like that, push it back in, make sure it's secure. You throw your loading gate up, and you're ready to engage the Nazis again. Needless to say, this was not exactly the ideal sidearm. If you had to use more than 7 rounds, you had to find cover somewhere if you wanted to reload this pistol. You'd probably be better off trying to find another weapon in the amount of time it would take you to reload this thing. Some of the things to look for in these pistols. Now this one is one that I picked out because it doesn't have the great big banner on the side, which nothing wrong with that. I've had some of those before. I had a really nice 1916 one that was refurbished back in 1920 that did have the great big billboard on the side. So this one, all of the markings like the Tula star and the arrow inside of it, any kind of proof stampings are still intact because the importer was very nice to put their information underneath the barrel where you can't see it and it's not over top of anything. So although I've had a couple of these and I've gotten rid of a couple of these, this one has stayed just because I like it and it's nice in condition. Now, these are interesting too to take apart. You pull out this little guy here in the front, your ramrod or whatever you want to call it, your shell case removal, and you can see here in the front there's this little thing here that's actually holding your cylinder in. You align it so that that can freely come out. So you slide that out, So there you have actually your the pin, or the body of the pin that your cylinder rotates around. You can then, of course, undo your loading gate there and have a look at your cylinder. Now again, this one here, the cylinder is in very nice condition, and the serial numbers actually are located on here, as well as on the pistol itself, so that you can actually match those up. And you can see you have 7 cylinders there. Now to reassemble it isn't too bad, although it's a little fiddly sometimes because this is spring-loaded here in the front. And we'll get into that in a second, actually, once I get them back together here, which shouldn't take too long. Push them all the way through. There we go. Line your cylinder pin back up again. Put them back down in. Make sure you're secure. Put your loading lever back down here. Your spent case. And there you go. Now, one of the interesting things about this is that it's a gas seal revolver. Now, I have some ammunition here. I have it off to the side because I don't like to have anything around while I have it in a place where I'm not at the range. So have a quick look at the ammunition. This is a typical round for this revolver, and it looks pretty normal until you get here to the very top. And you'll see that the brass itself is actually formed in to a much smaller diameter than the rest of the case. And inside, not outside, doesn't extend beyond the rim of the case. It actually is inside is where the bullet is. Now you'll see here, I have one of the fired shell casings. Show them side by side. And you can see that that sort of a bell type thing at the top has been now flared out. So this fired cartridge has flared out. Now the idea of that is, let's pull our cylinder back out again. The idea of that is a gas cylinder revolver. Now, let's actually tell you what, before I pull that apart, because that's going to take a moment, if you watch, now we've got our ammunition over here. I'm going to put that over there so it's safely out of the way. And we look here, nothing in there. I like being extra, extra safe. Put our loading gate back up. If you watch, as I pull the hammer back, this cylinder actually moves forward about 1/4 of an inch. And it moves up and over the forcing cone of the barrel. The idea of that is, it's called a gas seal revolver. The idea is, on regular revolvers, there's a small gap here, and you get a certain amount of the powder, and the energy actually gets blown out right here. So the idea is to seal the gas in the cylinder. And I'll pull this out again, just to show you what basically has happened to the cartridge. This guy here is always a pain to get out of here. There we go. Pull that out. So here's a loaded cartridge. Drop it in. Now let's look at the other side. You can see that it actually extends ahead of the cylinder face. You can probably see in that view about right there. Now let's look at one of the fired cases. I'm going to put that in, and then right next to it I'm going to put this guy back in. So you can see the greater diameter has flared out, and what that does is it actually seals into the end right here, see right there, of the barrel. And it does actually do a pretty good job at that. The problem is, with all of that action, that's what actually causes it to have such a horrendous trigger pull, is that a mechanism has to actually pull that cylinder around. It has to push it back up again, and then it actually has to drop the hammer. So all of that makes it have a horrendous trigger pull. And in return for that, you get just a few extra foot-pounds of energy out of the end. Now, maybe, I don't know, you probably would have less chance of somebody, okay, let me double check here. Empty, 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 times 7. You would actually probably have less chance, once it was cocked and ready to go, of actually getting an injury from around the front of the cylinder, which you can with a typical revolver. But really, it was a design that went through a lot to get very little actual benefit back out of it. They're great pistols, though, to shoot a very narrow grip. I find it actually a little bit too small. If it was a modern pistol, I would be putting some kind of sleeve around it so that I could grip it. It's typical of the time. It has a lanyard loop on here. Whenever I got the pistol too, it came with a nice holster. Nice Russian issue holster. And again, like our Makarov, you have the obligatory cleaning rod. Also, you can use that to knock your spent casings out if you have trouble with that. And on the side of the holster is a place to actually put spare ammunition. So all in all, now whenever I bought this revolver, it was, I think, around like $125. They've gone up considerably in price. And I think actually they're getting closer to what they actually should be priced, because they are a wonderful little piece of machinery here. Even if they weren't really a practical soldier's firearm, they are an excellent collectible and an excellent source of seeing basically what was done 100 years ago for a revolver. And you can see here I've got some of these different marks on here. There's a Tula star. That's something to look for. There is a Tula star actually on the sight as well. There's the serial numbers up there. You got the date of manufacture. Tula star down here on the hand guard, or on the trigger guard. And the bore itself was in excellent condition. So there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of good shooters out there. There's a lot of different variations from earlier on. Like I had a Tula 1916 that was excellent. And they're just a very nice pistol to have and to take to the range once in a while and shoot. I know I did read a news article from a few years ago that an older gentleman had bought one of these and actually defended successfully his life against a person who was trying to kill him with one of these revolvers. So they're definitely not a toy, but they are definitely not in the same class as a modern semi-automatic or modern revolvers. But they are a great piece of history, and if you get a chance, I suggest you get one. And I'm down to one right now. If I get another chance, I'd like to actually get one of the earlier versions again. So anyways, thank you for watching. This is Snowball 042. Thank you very much, and out.